So, one of the things that, you mentioned is about the whole, food and how processed and stuff like that. And also, there's the thing that you mentioned about anti-nutrient when we're talking offline,
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah,
So, first, maybe you can, share with our audience what anti-nutrient is.
Sure.
And then what are the most common anti-nutrients which we think is healthy, but we're just consuming it.
Yeah. So see, anti-nutrients, while I don't want to make them sound so evil and all of that, basically these are compounds that are often present in plants that prevent absorption of nutrients.
Acha.
That's why they're anti-nutrients.
Okay.
Now, why are they present in plants? So if you look at like evolution itself, like animals, right? When you try to hunt an animal, it has the ability to run away. It has the ability to defend itself with its claws and teeth and hooves and all of that. Plants can't move away. So what plants have done is they've created a lot of biochemical defense mechanisms, right? So things like oxalates, things like phytates, things like, and I'll explain what these are, but they have biochemical compounds inside them which kind of work as inhibitory mechanisms, right? So an animal would not naturally eat something that is very rich in anti-nutrients.
Yeah.
It will know when one bite and it will know.
Yeah.
Humans have found ways of cooking that will make everything taste good, and we do it, right? So these anti-nutrients, so for example, there are things called as oxalates. Oxalates are, under the microscope, if you look at them, they're really these sharp crystalline structures that are there in a lot of plants, including spinach.
Okay.
Now, these oxalates are usually there mostly in leaves and seeds. So when an animal chomps on a leaf, the plant releases these oxalates, so it becomes inhibitory. What herbivores, which is your cows and goats and all, is they have evolved alongside these plants. So if you look at how they eat a lot of these plants, they eat with their mouth open, they keep chewing a lot, and there's a lot of saliva that comes out, and they have enzymes that can break down these anti-nutrients because they are herbivores. They're designed to consume, and then they have the ruminant stomach, right, like 4 pouches. So as the food moves through their body, it kind of becomes less and less toxic. Their systems are entirely different. Humans have not evolved to that degree with plants. Humans have always been hunter-gatherers more than plant eaters, right? So we don't have all those defense mechanisms against these plant molecules. So oxalates, if you're consuming a lot of like spinach and almond milk, or even like a lot of these green leafy vegetable smoothies, you could end up with oxalate overconsumption, and these could then become stones in the body because these are crystals, right? So what your body will do to bind oxalate, it will use calcium. So you'll end up with calcium oxalate stones in the kidney, and that can actually deplete calcium from your body. So I was like this plant-based vegan nutritionist for nearly 2 years, right? And then what happened was, because I was also doing a lot of these smoothies and everything, I started feeling like even post-workout, my recovery was not faster and everything. And then I started getting these aches in my back and my neck. So I went and got a X-ray first, and then I got a more detailed MRI done. And my bones actually were aging faster than my actual age.
Wow.
So it looked like a older, right? So what the doctor was like, the bone mineral density has come down more like a 50s person. So hadn't I paid attention to the symptoms, that I would have been like, oh, this is ache and pain, I'll just do some stretches, I might not even have discovered. And then as I switched, and then I bought bone broth and more animal food and stopped having all these green things, that healed, right? So the pain is gone, and my bones have again found the nutrients that they needed. So you
think we need animal?
We do need animal, and I'll talk about that also. But so oxalates is one. Then the other kind of anti-nutrients are these things called phytates and tannins. So these again bind to iron. So a lot of people end up with iron deficiency anemia because they're eating so much spinach in the hope of getting iron, but that spinach itself has phytates. And then a lot of your even dals and pulses, they have these things called protease inhibitors. So protease is an enzyme that's required to digest protein. And you're eating dals and pulses because you're a vegetarian and you want protein, but the dals and pulses themselves have protease inhibitors. So they're preventing that enzyme, like they're preventing the protein from being digested because the protease itself is getting inhibited. So plants are pretty smart. They've figured out how to not get eaten, right? But we don't understand that intelligence that's there in nature. So plants have a lot of anti-nutrients. So if you had to ask me which ones to keep out of your diet, right? So I'd say, like, this is contradictory to every other nutritionist, but green leafy vegetables are not required. You don't need them. I don't know I really don't know the origin of why everyone started making them very popular. I really have no idea where it happened, but I know they're pretty popular now. The kids who come to us are the happiest because we tell them you don't need to eat your vegetables and you can be very happy without vegetables. They're like, wow, and they go and tell their moms, like, look, mom, this is what they're telling me. But anyway, so you don't need green leafy vegetables.
Okay.
There's a lot of almond milk consumption that's happening now, and almond butter, because people are going vegan and they want to avoid dairy. But almonds again are very high in oxalates, so you want to avoid that, right? And
Completely avoid them, or like
keep them low. So my approach is like, unless it's absolute poison, don't be afraid of food.
Okay.
Even gluten, right? So gluten is something that can trigger gut inflammation in most people. But that doesn't mean that if it's my birthday or if it's somebody's birthday in the team, I'm not going to eat a tiny piece of cake. I will, because I want to experience, like, I don't want to live in fear of food, right? Like, I'm a human. I am the apex predator on this planet. I can't be afraid of plants all the time. I just have a healthy respect for them. Saying, okay, I know what you're capable of, so I'm not going to overdo it. But I'm going to find my ways of eating it better, right? So green leafy vegetables, avoid. People think brown rice is better than white rice, but actually white rice is better because a lot of the phytate tannins and even the arsenic is more in brown rice than in white rice. So white rice is actually better. So a lot of controversial thoughts coming up here, but white rice is better than brown rice. And what else that I would think people should avoid? The safer vegetables are your gourds, pumpkins, the dudhis, and all of these seasonal gourds that we have. I wouldn't really recommend eating too many vegetables to kind of feel healthy. What works better for human health is more of animal, like, we need protein, we need good quality saturated fat.
Okay.
So you build your plate around that, right? So eggs or fish or red meat, if you like red meat. And then the fat is mostly ghee, butter or coconut oil, and then white rice and non-gluten grains, which could be jowar or bajri or all of these.